All right, and recording again. All right, so realistically,
Mm.
what happened this week outside of hurricanes? Because that's all I know that's been going on. Politics are
Uh,
politicking. Trump
yeah,
is winning the swing states. I
yeah,
mean, and there's hurricanes. There's really not a whole lot else been going on.
no, yeah. It's been a pretty run of the mill week. I was telling you about this before. I got a COVID booster yesterday, and so I've been feeling like shit all day
Yeah,
because
that's what you were
because I
saying, yeah.
because I forgot that I'm one of those people that runs a fever for the 24 hours after getting that shot, and so I scheduled it, so that I would be running a fever on show day. But at least I know. That's the thing. Is like this has happened before. I know I'll be fine by later tonight. But still kind of annoying.
No, yeah, I mean, COVID booster shots, that is not a bad idea. Did you get it free?
Mm. No, a family member bought it for me for my birthday.
That is an interesting birthday present,
Yeah. Well,
but
I mean, I've
they're
gone.
thinking about you. They want you to
Yeah,
stick around.
I've gone back to doing deliveries, and so it was, it's kind of one of those like that was a we're worried about you, kiddo. Here, have a condom kind of moment.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I I'm really trying to think of what was really going down this week. I for one, we filmed a backup episode, so
Yep.
a lot
Yep.
of what we've been doing this week was a whole bunch of research and everything that we were doing. So I wasn't really caught up on current events.
That's the thing. I don't think
One
I
of
was.
our viewers, can you tell us
I know. I
anything
know.
that
I
happened
did.
this week?
I know I did my usual thing
Remind
where I
me.
was listening to my news podcasts, so I feel like I'm caught up, but at the same time, I also can't think of anything that's been happening because yeah, my mind hasn't been on it.
But all they're
S-
talking about is the hurricanes,
Yeah,
which I guess if you want to talk about the hurricanes, I got people that I know and love that are out there. I mean, not people that I talk to every day, but
right,
I, when something's going down with them, I am definitely worried about them.
for sure. Yeah.
Then, then you have the hurricane relief response, where you're getting, I don't even know what this exactly is, but Ron DeSantis is saying that, like, I'm not going to get on the phone with the vice president or the president because it's not about you, Kamala. And it's like,
Well,
no, it's
okay,
not about her. It's about the federal aid that she is
yeah,
trying to offer you. And you're
it,
playing these games. Like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing with that. First of all, he is talking to the president. Apparently, he's just not talking to Kamala.
oh, well,
And
if he's talking to the president,
yeah,
I mean, at least as long as the
yeah.
people in Florida are getting some form of relief started,
Yeah, and it
I mean,
sounds like that.
good.
Yeah, it sounds like that's doing okay. I think his whole thing is that the only reason she of all people out of the entire government would be calling is because it's an election year and she's trying to get involved, which
That's
isn't the
kind of one of
worst.
those things that has been really
It's
weird
like,
to kind of navigate with
yeah, it's like, is that the
certain
worst
people.
thing in
Is
the world?
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm here because I'm trying to, like, I'm over at your house because you're my wife's family member and I'm trying to make her happy. Are you
Right,
really gonna send me away from all the work I'm there to do?
right, yeah,
Like, no, it's basically the same premise. Like, but at the same time, with the people who are like saying that Biden is a puppet and like the puppet
hmm,
masters and all this stuff, if you're calling Biden a puppet and you're only getting on the phone with him,
right,
what are you doing? And set aside from that, if this, I mean, this disaster is going to go into the next presidency.
yeah,
This
oh,
is
for
not going to
sure.
get cleaned up in 3 months. That's not going to
Well,
happen.
especially like, not to mention the fact that the speakers refuse, like, they if they need more funding, if they need to approve more funding for additional relief, which it looks like they will because two hurricanes in a fucking row. Are you kidding me? Like, of course they're
Both
going to need
both of
additional.
them, they calling them once in a century hurricanes.
Exactly, yeah. And so, of course, they're going to need more funding. And
Yeah.
the speaker's refusing to bring Congress back into session until next month. So, yeah, no, this is gonna draw out for no reason.
And
Um,
that is exactly the thing. So when you're refusing, um, I mean, and you can't really play this any other way.
mm,
Harris and Trump are tied. Trump is winning the swing states. He's more than likely going to be the next president again. And but if he's not, you still need, like, it's still a good idea to get the current administration, who may be the next administration, already
right,
get that going, get
right.
that started. Like, that is just the right thing
Well,
to
it,
do, objectively speaking.
what I don't understand, and maybe, and maybe I'm not too in tune to this because this is mostly like kind of a, I have like two podcasts in the news that I listen to, and that's about it. So I don't know all the story on everything. I don't go hunting through for stories. I'll admit I'm kind of one of those only read the headline types. I try to get some delve in, but I've only got so many hours in the day, and I have a short attention span. That's why I need my pills.
There
Um,
you go.
but but to my understanding, the only reason anybody even knows that DeSantis was refusing Harris's calls was because the Harris campaign leaked it. That was a stupid fucking move.
uh I disagree that it was a stupid move.
Mm,
It is. So here's one thing that happened during the Obama administration.
uh-huh.
Obama got blamed like crazy for how ineffective he was. Yet Mitch McConnell and a bunch of people in the Senate, in the House, everything, they flat out publicly stated that they were making it their life's mission to not let anything that Obama put up get passed. Nothing
Right.
during the
Yeah.
Obama administration was going to get passed,
Right.
which is, if you want to put that into current affairs, when Trump had them tank the bipartisan immigration bill,
Right.
it was for the same purpose. He didn't want Harris or the Biden Harris administration to have any wins,
Right.
in the same way that back then they didn't want the Obama Biden administration to have any wins.
Yep.
So,
That's okay.
like, it's really important that the average voter gets informed over who is trying to run the country, who is trying to help the country, and who is actively letting petty crap get in the way of running the country.
Okay. I see your point. Yeah.
Like, I do think it's important for people to know who's playing games in office versus who's trying to get work done. Doesn't matter.
And
If you are in politics, if you are in governance, it does not matter if you like the person or not. You gotta work with them. And that is the
yeah, no, it's
number
true.
one thing.
That is true.
Now, okay, it was the number one thing that I had a problem with Trump. It became a lot of other things, but diplomacy matters. When, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're Republican, doesn't matter if you're Democrat, doesn't matter which direction you lean. When you are a political leader in this country, in any country, anywhere, when you're a leader, it does not matter how you feel. You are the leader for everybody that is under you. It's
Mm.
plain and simple. If you can't do that, you're not suited for the job.
No, it's true. Yeah. And we've seen examples of that in the past where, in moments of disaster, Democratic governors have been very cooperative with Republican presidents when it comes to coordinating these things, and
I
vice
do want to say
versa.
most Republican governors, they're not DeSantis. Most
Right.
Republican governors, politics do not matter. Your political leaning does not matter. When it comes to the state being in need, most governors do not care about that.
Yeah.
They actually do care about their states. That is something I will actually, like. That doesn't really seem to be a problem at the state level.
Well, and it does depend, and
Oh
usually
hell
it's
yeah,
got,
it depends.
and usually it is governors too. And in some cases, like I know, for instance, isn't there still like four states that are still refusing their Medicare expansion for no, it's free money. They just
Maybe
don't.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how many exactly, but but that's their state senate that's refusing that, and not the governors.
I
So,
know that, well, this, set aside from the abortion issue, because governors are really towing that line all over this country.
mm,
Hmm, that's the wrong way to say that. Um, when it comes to disaster relief, governors
hmm
do step up. Natural disasters, things like that. No, party lines. No, 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 no.
that's true.
The state level decision thing. I think we talked about this a little bit before, but you'll have to refresh my memory. When it comes to things like agriculture,
Hmm
state level.
Right. Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
that
We
that.
have talked about this. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we have like
The localized issues have to be locally governed, because yeah, the governance of California oranges versus Florida oranges are not going to be the same, even though they are both oranges. Those are two wildly different climates. You need two wildly different regulations for sure.
right, and that's where I'm kind of comfortable. Like there are states that they don't want salt to be on the roads because of how much it damages stuff.
Right.
North Dakota, we want salt on the roads because that's how we stay alive.
hmm
Like that's how we can go to work in the winter. That's how we can just live.
Yeah.
So if you have another state that's like, no, we don't want this, and they try to do some sort of federal regulation that winds up creating a million new car accidents every month,
Right. Yep.
no, that doesn't make any sense. So there are certain things that do need to be with the state level. However, the average American's federal protections should be total.
hmm
The American citizen does not matter what city or state you live in. If you are an American citizen, you should have the American protections.
Right. Exactly.
And where people talk about like, oh, no state's gonna bring back slavery and stuff like that, it's like, no, 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 no. Yes, they will.
They
And the reason I
absolutely
know
will.
this is because we haven't gotten rid of slavery in our Constitution yet.
No.
We only turned it into a punishment.
Yeah.
Slavery is still part of
Every
our Constitution. It is
every
still,
state that
yeah.
has a federal prison in it is still doing slavery. Yep.
Yeah, no, we didn't get rid of slavery. It is literally in our Constitution as a punishment. And that's why a lot of people do qualify private prisons as legal slavery.
hmm Yep.
Like that, that is still a real thing. And if you cross into a state where they determine your skin color or something like that, realistically, you become like a criminal refugee of that state.
Yeah.
That is all that takes.
hmm
And that's why like this whole state rights thing, it's a really dangerous thing. Just look at Texas.
Yeah. Well,
If
it's a
Well, hold on a sec.
bizarre. Yeah.
So my wife is looking at getting a job in Texas. We would like to have children someday. If she gets pregnant and she has this remote job that she has to fly to Texas like once a month for,
Right.
if something happens with the pregnancy and she's in Texas, they have control.
That's yeah.
And that's
Um.
terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is straight up terrifying. Like just because if she goes there for work and something goes wrong, that could be, I mean, how many women have died already because of this?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't even
It's
want to
too
know.
it's already
I
it's
know
already
it's
too high. It's
that's the
already way
thing.
too high.
Yeah.
No, I mean like I remember being, oh sorry, I cut you off so I could finish that. Go ahead, what were you saying?
I do not remember
God damn it.
what was the prompt.
I don't know. We were talking about abortion.
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember what I was going to say.
No, like so somebody has asked me in the past how like well, I mean tons of people have asked me in the past how I feel about abortion, but this one
hmm
conversation in particular is one that still kind of stands out in my mind. The only part of that conversation that I want to be in, like this is back when I was single. This isn't really a problem in my life now. But
Right.
if a woman got pregnant, the only part of that conversation, if the topic was about abortion or anything like that, would be to let her know she has an option.
Right.
If she
Yeah.
wanted to have the child, I would take the child. She wouldn't have to do anything with it. Like,
Right.
that is the only thing, because that is the only thing that I truly feel that I would have a right do.
I think
Not
I
my
remember
body,
hearing you
not
say
anything
that.
like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
I don't think women. Well, actually, no. I mean, I don't even agree with that. What I was gonna say is I don't think women should just do it without having a conversation with the guy.
Mm.
But that is their
Well, it always
right.
that's the thing, and
It
it
is
is
their right. But
always
I still don't think they should. Like that. That's a
well.
personal place. Like,
That's the
makes
thing, and then
sense.
that's what it comes down to is that it is how personal this is. It's like, should she have a conversation with the guy? In a perfect world, yeah. But what if she doesn't actually trust that guy or how he's going to react or any of that or
Like, how
whether or
many
not
guys have said, "Oh, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna take care of you," and then all of a sudden they're just gone.
exactly, you know,
Like, that's what I
or
say. Like, I would like that
yeah,
to happen, but I definitely understand that I have no claim to anything like that.
right.
Like, that is just my position. And I know that that is still too extreme because that was the last conversation I ever had with that woman. In Portland, they only want you to shut the fuck up. That is like
Yeah,
that like when it's talking about abortion, that's it. That like literally that is the only thing that is acceptable. I never had a decent intelligent conversation about that particular issue.
and yeah, and unfortunately it is yeah. I mean, that's basically the that is the crux of every guy has to take responsibility for every ounce of abuse every woman has ever taken from any other guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
That it that's the what we got to deal with. And yeah, and that's probably why
I
a
mean, you
lot of
can take
guys
the
that this
position over which one is worse, dealing with the frustration over like them being abused and we have to deal with it, or them being abused.
that's
I
the
mean,
thing.
there
It's a
like
it's a no
there's
win situation. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying men have it harder than women.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that at all because
No.
I'm not a fucking idiot.
Right.
Um but I am
But that's kind
saying
of
women
I
and
think
men
it's
do
part
have
of
different battles.
yeah. Well, and I think that's part of like you keep hearing about how there's more and more men every year just choosing, never mind, I'm just going to be single. I'm not even going to try to date anymore. And I think it's because to a certain degree, they've realized that fighting that battle of trying to be the healer and trying to be the one to take responsibility, even though they want to, they realize they can't. It's too hard of a fight. They can't do it their whole life. And so they just bow out, I think is what it is. And it's a shame. It's sad, um, but that's one of the ways that healing takes place is we all kind of take a step back and you know let it everything run its course.
Yeah, the one good thing that'll really happen out of that is if a bunch of people stop having kids and we won't have to worry about free meals for kids anymore. It'll be a little more affordable.
I suppose it's one way to look at it. Sure, yeah,
Hey, there's a pro and there's a con to everything.
you're right. Yeah.
No, it's like I mean, I was just talking about this with somebody a few days ago. Uh, my whole life, growing up, teenage, young man, all that stuff, I was always a person that people could talk to about anything.
Yep.
I loved finding out about people. I loved learning about where they came from, why they make the decisions that they make, like where their justifications come from, all of these things. I don't know what happened, but something happened around 2015 that just a lot of things just people just no longer wanted to explain where they came from or their justifications on thoughts or anything like that. It's always just, I don't want to get political because everything became
Yeah.
political.
Yeah.
You know, I used to talk to just literally everybody about everything. People got really afraid to talk somewhere around 2015 for some reason. I had a friend ask me like, "Why don't you look at the camera?" I'm like, "So I can do stuff like that."
Right. Like what like John Stewart, meet me at camera 2.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that's if I had like three cameras all hooked up, that I would probably have even more fun with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, like spiking the camera to deliver a line, that's just funny.
Of course.
Like the proposal. Have you seen you? Oh, you saw it
Oh
already, right?
yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. Saw it in the theater. Probably gonna now that it's out on streaming, I'm probably gonna watch it again sometime in the next few days because there's
I
members of
don't
my
doubt
family
that.
that haven't seen it yet.
Oh, really? You guys didn't go together?
Well, me and my son did, but my eldest and my mom haven't seen it yet. So
Oh, fair enough.
yep.
I think that okay, that is definitely fan service the movie.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Do you think it's actually going to stand the test of time as a good movie?
That is a good question. Because yeah, being that it is fan service, the movie, you kind of have to know, like, like
It's
I
kind of
have
tough
like
because a movie that has built-in applause breaks,
that's the
those
thing.
aren't going to be needed always.
No, and well, and I even remember, even like I said, I saw it with my son. I had to, as quickly as possible, explain to him who Elektra and Blade were. So already, uh, already we were in danger territory.
Whoa.
So yeah, it might
I understand Elektra. I can
yeah,
understand not having seen Elektra or Daredevil, but Blade? Really?
yeah.
That's one
Which
of
is weird
the
because I'm like
that's one of the best
I'm
ones.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I even showed him Blade. I might have showed it to him a long time ago. He might have forgotten because he might have still been pretty young when I showed it to him because I got my kids started on their education really young. Like they were watching Star Trek: The Next Generation while they were like still in grade school. So,
Oh
you
god,
know,
they didn't have a chance.
no, of course not. So, hey, you know what? If we were a Jewish family, I'd have been teaching them the Torah. We're a nerd family, so I taught them Star Trek. That's basically how this works.
That is fair. I
Mm,
suppose if I ever did have children, they would know who Vegeta is pretty early.
there you go. Yep.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I mean, like Naruto and stuff like that, I would push that onto a kid so fast.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of really like highly like the emotional intelligence that is displayed throughout that show. That like there's a lot of really important lessons that kids could really benefit from that show.
Mm.
I'm curious, how far into Chuck are you?
I am in the middle of season 3 now.
Oh, you're almost there. Okay.
I panicked for a second there because um they killed Tony Hale's character in the first episode of season 3. Was really
Hmm.
mad about that, as I know he was a
But it was a
hated
great death.
character. It was a really good death, but I was just like, man, like I get it, but like because it's one thing. He's a civilian. That's the thing. As much of a piece of shit he was, he didn't deserve to die like that, you know. And so it made me mad. But then like 4 episodes later, they make it look like Captain Awesome has just been killed. I was so angry. I was so fucking angry. And I would like it was one of those like late nights I should be going to bed kind of thing. But I was like, no, I got to see the next one. What's happening? And then I was like, oh, he's still alive. Thank God. Oh,
I've
that was
been
not
there.
cool. That was
I've been
not
there.
cool.
Ryan McPartlin has not had as prolific of a career as he should,
Hmm.
but I'm very happy that he is in the things that he's in.
Yeah.
That oh man. So you're at the show. Oh no. Oh okay. All right. Never mind. I need you like once you're to the place that and remember no season 5.
Oh, no season 5. Oh, I
No.
didn't remember that. No. Okay.
It ends at season 4.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
If you want that show to remain perfect, it ends at season 4. This like too many shows they go through, they mess everything up. It's just
Mhm.
how it goes.
Oh yeah.
Um no, but I want to tell you so bad, but I know it's gonna bum you out. But mm, yeah. No, so by the way, once again, for the after hour, if you guys got any topics that happened over the last week that you want to remind us to talk about, because we've been doing like backup episodes and stuff like that. We haven't been paying attention to shit that's happening in the
Nah.
world. We
Yeah.
got friends and family that are out in Florida, and I don't think I have anybody in North Carolina. But pretty much this whole week has just been worried about buddies.
Mm.
Because
Yeah. Not
I think I got 9 people out in Florida. What about you?
okay. Yeah. I don't know anybody in Florida actually.
Oh, really? Okay, well
Yeah.
that's got to be a little bit of a relief.
Yeah. Well, no, everybody I know is in Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho, and you in Colorado. That's it. That's the entirety of my world. Oh no, wait. I know. No, they left Texas. I don't know anybody in Texas anymore. Okay. Uh,
Oh, I'm sure you know somebody in Texas. I mean,
Not
so many
anymore.
like Portland and Austin are so interchangeable. I'm guessing there's people that are living in Austin that you don't even know that are living there right now. Dude, you're not like you and I are not on social media. I
No, that's
literally
true.
I had a buddy had a kid and I didn't even know it.
Ah!
He sent me pictures. I'm like, "Oh man, she's adorable," because he has 2 little girls and everything like that. And he's like, "He's a boy." And I was like, "Oh."
Oh.
I had 50-50 odds.
Yeah.
Not a
And you
good
know what?
gambler, I guess.
Hey, you know what? It's the 21st century. You don't know that that's going to stay that way.
Yes, I do. I know this man. I know I know who he's married to. I'm pretty sure. I am pretty sure. These are people who live in Florida. Florida is the place that conservatives live and liberals vacation to. Like,
And you know what? Some of the most wackadoodle, multicolored hair, agendered liberals that I have ever met had conservative parents. That's just how it goes.
well,
It's
I
like
mean,
it's
so
like I it's like I
Patton
said before.
Oswalt had a great point. As a parent, you have to be lame.
Yeah.
You have to have you have to have your kids rebel a little bit so where like they get to be a little cool, but you can't be cool parents because that's how you make lame kids.
Right.
And damn, that does seem to go that way a lot, doesn't it?
Hmm.
I actually I remember laughing probably a little bit too hard on that one. But no, that one really got me because I remember well, I mean, we all know it. Like you call it preacher's daughters,
Right.
but where I come from, it's and it definitely ripped from a song, but it's good little girls make mighty wild women.
Yep.
And it's a
Okay.
pretty damn accurate statement because I remember one of my neighbors, and like I said, I lived out in the country, so when I say neighbor, I mean like 12 miles away. I remember like trying to be friends with her when we were younger, and she was awesome. Amazing person, super sweet, very kind. Her parents took one look at me and were like, "You stay away from him." Just 100% flat out.
Hmm.
I'm still not sure what was so wrong with me at the time
Right.
because I know what went wrong with me later, but at that time I was a sweet kid. Like, I was kind of a nice kid.
Right.
So, we graduated high school. I became somewhat of a responsible dude, like kind of, I joined the military. Yeah, I was a drunk for a couple years. But after that, I kind of like cleaned up and like have been, decent. And I remember when the first time I connected with her after we graduated, like like Will Ferrell in Old School, once it hits your lips. Like she was like the ultimate party girl and I never saw that coming. Now she's married, got a good life, good family,
Hmm.
like she's got everything going good and all that. But how
Yeah.
wild she became, nope. Nope, never would have believed that.
Oh yeah. I
But eh.
yeah, I actually reconnected with an old friend from high school who was she was that like she was everybody's little sister. Like I
Oh
remember
yeah,
like
sure.
yeah, and I remember like she had very proper family, very conservative, very sweet, very nice, had friends with everyone. I remember at a dance once, like she showed up at the dance and she was looking pretty good, and so I was like, oh, maybe I'll shoot my shot, and I started to head towards her on the dance floor. I'm not kidding. 6 of my friends formed a circle around me and moved me away from her, and literally did the whole like, "We know where you fucking live. Don't go anywhere near her."
6 of her friends or your friends?
My friends pulled me away from her and were like, "You do not go near her."
Do you know why?
Yes, because she was everyone's little sister.
But so?
And okay, I
I'm
have
I'm missing
mentioned
something here.
okay, I have mentioned to you before that I have been a man horse since I was 7 years old, right?
I don't remember you quite putting it like that. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a reputation, and they were not going to allow that reputation anywhere near her. Um,
Okay. Okay. I can see. Okay. All right.
yeah. But
I can
then
see that.
years later, just I was just like maybe 6, 7 years ago, in fact, ran into her again. Like by coincidence, I actually delivered Uber Eats food to her house, and we reconnected. And I was like, "Holy shit!" She was like, "Hey," and so we ended up like talking. And she's same, she's married now, got a couple of kids, and we decided to grab lunch and catch up. And I was like, "So yeah, what happened? Where you're married now. This is great. Like where?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, well, had a little rough time there after graduation." Disappeared, lived in a trailer park with my Japanese boyfriend for a couple of years. That was weird. And I was like, "Excuse me?"
Okay. She has a story.
Yeah. I was like, "Wait, you mean to tell like you completely flipped?" She's like, "Yeah, I completely flipped." And I'm like, "And now?" She's like, halfway."
It's a good place to be.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is, honestly. That middle ground, I think that's where most people should be, and not enough people are.
Right, exactly.
Um,
Yep.
like that's why, like growing up in North Dakota, and I want to say heavily conservative, but it's not. Even though they think they are, it's
Mm.
weird. It is really weird because, like, when I was doing the photography and I was traveling the country nonstop, constantly, northern states, southern states, constantly back and forth. So I was getting to spend time in the South with hardcore conservatives. And then I would go to the North and then I would talk to conservatives that the people in the South would have called liberal cucks. Like, it is crazy. So when
Yeah.
I go to North Dakota, and as long as I don't specifically talk about Republican, Democrat, left, right, red, blue, as
Right.
long as I avoid the identifiers, most of them are progressive.
Oh yeah, I've been saying
Every
so.
single thing that they talk about, they have the progressive idea or like the
Yep.
ideology of a progressive, but they vote red because of tradition.
Right.
It is
Or
crazy. This
because
country is
yeah.
not as conservative
Well,
as it thinks. It's wild.
I've been saying that for years, yeah. Or even to a certain degree, they've just been generally bamboozled into thinking that the Republican side is the progressive side because they're in like a media bubble almost.
No, I think like the Republican really tout themselves as like one of my conservative buddies.
Hmm.
He's very very purple, which is
Yeah.
realistically what we all are, what most of us
Right.
are. Um, how do I say this? Fuck. So yeah, one of my most conservative buddies
Hmm.
in North Dakota, like in North Dakota, when we sit down, we talk. I keep trying. Okay, here's what's going on. I forgot what I was going to say, and I keep trying to restart my sentence as though I'm like kicking on the engine and just hoping that the end of the sentence is going to magically come to me. It's not.
I've
Doc,
been there.
talk about something.
I yes, I had I know what you're talking about. I had a conservative friend. I remember, and it was funny because like I remember even someone saying to me like it was in that whole like 16 2017 time when like the real fierce divide was happening. And
Right
and we're people were going non-contact with their conservative
now, I
friends and
got it. Now
stuff.
I got it. Now I got it.
Okay,
So
go.
the because my buddy, he told me that who is conservative,
Mhm.
that wow, this is just a hard sentence to say, even though that I know what it is. Okay, he tells me that he doesn't like the Progressive Party because of the name of it, because it feels really regressive and like it's kind of touting that we're better than other people and all this. But the thing that he kind of missed, like that he's missing, is what is the reason why the Progressive Party is progressive is because the Conservative Party is about traditionalism.
Right. Yeah.
That their whole point is tradition and not changing.
Right.
Like if you think the Progressive Party being progressive is touting themselves as better people, it kind of sounds like you are a progressive. You just don't like that you're not being called one.
Right. Okay.
That was my point. I'm so
Interesting.
sorry for how hard that was to say.
Well, and yeah, I've always believed so too, because like you can hear how a lot of them, like I've seen even the interviews with full on Trump voters who they'll say, why are you going to vote for him? And because they genuinely believe that he's going to stop the bribery of lobbyists to politicians. Like there's no,
Somehow, I
yeah,
don't understand how they believe that.
I neither do I, but
He
they do.
literally
And
was on stage saying that he has to endorse Elon because of
because
how much money Elon gave him. Those words literally came out of his mouth.
right. And he's on tape saying to oil executives, if you give me this much money, I'll let you do whatever you want. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah, I
how they
don't
believe
understand.
it
Yeah.
either. But that's the thing, is like their heart's in the right place. They're just somehow so wildly misinformed that and you can't undo it, because part of that misinformation is also an inherent belief that if I try to tell them that, they're going to instantly assume I'm a liar.
And there is that. Like within my family, like I mean, this is what the current era has really bothered. Like what bothers me about it so much is
Hmm.
I hate liars. Like to a degree in which I cannot actually put words to.
Sure, yeah.
Like how much hatred I have when somebody lies right to my face or anything like this. I will straight end a friendship over the dumbest of lies because I don't like untrustworthy people.
Yeah.
They don't belong here. So with the modern era and how literally everybody just can't stop lying.
Hmm.
I hate it. I hate it so much. But in talking to my family, so I will read the legislation. I will watch what is happening in the courts. I will C-SPAN, all this stuff. Like I spent
Sure, yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of hours just watching these things, researching these things, because I wanted to stop getting lied to. I had to go read court transcripts because I wanted to figure out which news station was giving me the most accurate information.
Sure, yeah.
So I went and I read the actual information. I read the reports, I read the transcripts, I read everything.
Yeah.
Then I went and I watched the news outlets to see how they reported on it. TYT reigns supreme.
Yep, I agree.
They they bother the hell out of me with how opinionated they are and all of this. However, what they report, like first they'll give the news,
Hmm.
then they'll give their opinion on it. So I leave
Right.
the video like halfway through 90% of the time.
And yeah, well, and like I said, I have like two news podcasts that I listen to for my news. They're both TYT network shows, and yeah, I will spend a lot of time fast forwarding through their editorializing, because it's
I
like,
don't
yeah, I
care.
get
I'm
it.
here for
Yeah,
the information. I'm not here for your opinion.
right. It's like, and I get it. It's like, I'm right there with you, pal. You only needed to say this for like 2 minutes, and now we're in minute 15. Let's move it along. There's other news to get to, you know?
Yeah. Like if they would stop the commentary about like and remove a bunch of their opinions and their jokes and all of this, I get it. I
Hmm.
get everybody else does it and you have to make it a little bit entertaining because of
Right.
let's be
But
real,
that
the average person is a troll.
right. And I have the same issue when it comes to even like when I'm like, Jesus, like I about lost my mind last election because we were getting 24-hour like coverage from my parents had NBC on, to kind of keep the constant updates of where the elections coverage was coming in.
Sure.
And what drove me nuts about it was the fact that we knew for a fact that these results were coming in, in 3-hour stints to a degree. And there was even a certain point where it was the end of the day. They were sending these people home to go get some sleep so they could start counting again in the morning. And they were still going with speculation and, and editorializing. They'd have a panel of people sitting there talking. Well, what do you think is going to happen? Well, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Let's go to the big board and let's go over all of the things that we don't know again,
Oh, I
you know?
know. It's a never
And
ending cycle of that stuff.
yeah, it's like, you know what? While we're at it, while we have the time here, while we're waiting, why don't you report on any one of the other 10 million things happening in the world? Like, here's
That
my
would
here's my big
that would be really nice.
here's my big example. I remember way back many years ago. There's this country called Monrovia. Monrovia was in the news every day because they were having some real internal trouble. They were on the cusp of possibly having a civil war in Monrovia. All right.
Hmm.
So when I was listening to the news back then, it was like every day there was an update on what's going on in Monrovia. Then we invaded Iraq. I haven't heard Monrovia mentioned since. I can't even tell you with 100% certainty that that country is still there.
You want a more recent example?
Okay.
The caravan during Trump's midterms.
We knew that didn't exist in the first place.
No, it did exist. There,
Yeah.
like that was a thing. That's constantly a thing, though. Like people do travel in hopes of a better life. But before the midterms and leading up to the midterms, they mentioned it like 100 times a day.
Oh,
After
I
the
remember
midterms,
that.
they mentioned it
Right.
twice in a week.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Like, no, that is, I think that is probably the prime example that
Yep.
happened most recently.
Yep.
But
So yeah,
here's my
this is
opinion
my
on the whole
ask
caravan
to the
thing. Oh, go ahead.
this is my ask to the cable news stations, okay? When election day comes and we know we've got time to kill between the results, instead of sitting there and making us panic with unsubstantiated speculation, why don't you tell us what the fuck is going on in Monrovia? All right, I've been waiting
Yeah.
30 goddamn years for an update. There, I said my piece.
Been holding on to that for a while.
A little bit.
I just want the news.
Yeah.
Just just the facts, man. That's all I want.
Yep.
I mean, it's I think a lot of media outlets really don't fully understand because we've been lacking that so hardcore for so long. There is a good portion of this country that is just desperate for honesty.
Right? Yeah. Like we have been we understand that we've been propagandized and we do a lot of work to try and filter through our propaganda to figure out where the truth is, and we're exhausted. We don't want to do that work anymore.
I don't want to do it. No.
We just want to be told what's up and that's it. No more editorializing, no more no more advertising. Just yeah, give us the whole. You don't know what the whole is. That is a deep cut. From the from the comic book Transmetropolitan. It's a news feed called The Hole
Good
that it
God, man. That's another one of those jokes that is like for two people,
five. I'm betting five on that one.
not in our audience.
Someday,
our
if
our
I keep
audience
it
is
up,
too low. Like we do not have that many subscribers to have
okay,
people that get those kind of deep cuts.
fair. But if I keep it up, eventually it'll be a percentage. All right.
You know what? That is true. Eventually, we keep going it. We keep building subscribers. Eventually, some motherfuckers are gonna know what the hell you're talking about with that joke. Like,
Yeah.
well, what was it? A deep cut from a comic book? The Whole? What was that?
It's a comic book called Transmetropolitan. It's from the 90s. It's really good. I highly recommend it. It was a limited run. It did 60 issues, and so you can basically get it all in like 9 or 10 volumes, I think.
That's
But
still a
it
good
had
chunk. Yeah.
yeah, but it had it had a very like cheap low bandwidth text only news feed called The Hole, and that's basically where all of the just the facts what the government doesn't want you to know, news with no commentary.
See, I thought you were making a season 4 The Boys reference with Tech Knight.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no.
Everything about Tech Knight, it like that creeped me out to a degree that I don't fully. Whoa. I mean, that like season 4, episode 6, there are not a lot of shows that I can specifically tell you the season and the episode number. I'm never going to forget that episode. That broke my brain.
Yeah, that
I
that
mean,
was some
every
shit for
season of
sure.
that show, like it has something that breaks your brain.
I feel like maybe Kripke might be losing his mind a bit because he's like trying so hard to get a message
Mm.
across, and the wrong people keep fan basing him, and so he's like, no, no, no. How do I tell you assholes you're the bad guys? God damn it! What do I got to do to piss you off?
Well, see, that's the thing about incredible satire.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. That is a very good point.
we lost all of our viewers with talking about Tech Knight in the hole. Our
Yeah.
audience is going to tailor itself. That is just going to be a thing. There's no way around it. No, was, that was just funny. I look over and I was like, "Oh, they're all gone." Oh man.
They stuck around for all of our political commentary, but once we just started talking about the boys, they were like, I've seen it.
Well, that's one thing that I did kind of. I wanted to structure the after hours a little bit
Mm,
because we keep doing this political thing.
yeah.
So I was wondering, like, if we keep winding up talking about politics, should we choose another night of the week and just do a political hour? Write down the
I
things that
mean,
we want to talk about throughout the week, and then just come in and do that because it is probably smart to separate politics from a movie podcast.
yeah. No, you're
Even
not
even
wrong.
even though this is the after hour, but
I am not against the idea. I just don't know if I can add another definitively weekly thing,
hey
considering
man,
how,
with my ass doing the one with editing and everything like that, I'm kind of regretting even coming up
yeah.
with the idea.
Maybe if we did it like a monthly thing, we did like a monthly special. We might be able to do that.
Yeah, that would be like that would be too sparingly, and the amount of things that would get lost in that or in that
Hmm.
wouldn't really be able to cover that much. We'll talk about it off air or something like that, but
Yeah. We'll find something. And I'll try to
you
remember
know, it
to
might be kind of
write down
fun.
subject matter to bring up that is not political.
You're right. I thought about doing the same thing. What would probably be a good idea is just kind of like on like they do on ESPN, the rundown, and
Hmm.
just like start the after hour with like 5 different areas of conversation, and then we just kind of like bust over from one area to another area to another area, and then just you know like or 6, and then do like 10
Okay.
minutes in each area.
I mean, I have no idea what you're talking about because I do not watch ESPN, but I'll take your word for it. Sure.
But you can understand the words I just described. I mean,
I think so. I know what you're talking about. Sure. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, I feel like we got the actual main show. I feel like we actually have that figured out.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Oddly enough, we chase 3 hours. The podcast literally ended today at 3 hours on the second.
No shit. Good
That's
for
why I was
us.
that's why I was pushing you to wrap it up.
Okay.
I realized that, and I was like, oh shit, I wonder if we could do this. But nah, I feel like we got that kind of dialed in, so we figure out the after hour a little bit. I know it's just what went on this week and stuff like that, which is kind of.
Yeah.
But with how much you and I pay attention to politics, that's pretty much just going to be politics every week, and that's not
It,
exactly a
it's kind
great
of, yeah.
topic for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, let's play with that idea for a while. Let's see if I'll try to find other things to talk about next
I'm
week
not in. I
and see.
mean, no, I'm not in a crazy rush to make the adjustments. The adjustments will come in time with time.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
true.
starting to notice we're really getting into a pattern with the after hour here. So we probably should make a decision for what we're going to try to aim for.
That's a good point. Good point.
Because I mean, I don't mind talking politics. I am
No.
far from ashamed of my political standpoint or anything like that.
Hmm.
I I am okay talking about the things that I'm even a little bit insecure about. Because if I'm insecure about it, it means I'm not educated enough on the subject, and
Sure.
I
Yeah.
want to talk about it so I can get educated.
And I think even to a certain degree, there is power in admitting that something is beyond you. Like
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's
what's
just
like even if
humility.
it's yeah, like even if it's not you've heard me say before, I'm not a car guy. I am comfortable in knowing that if I wanted to learn everything I needed to know to build and repair my own cars, I could. I just don't want to because I do not find cars interesting. And so I know nothing about cars. And
I find
so
them utterly fascinating. Every time I learn about them, I forget.
see,
I don't know what that is.
see, and that's what makes someone like you useful. You do the car thing, I don't. So I need you
No, no, no,
around.
no. I
You're
think you
my
misheard me. Every time I try to learn something about a car, I always forget it.
Oh, okay.
I am very similar. I'm a good woodworker. I'm a good
There you
carpenter.
go. Yeah.
Like there are things I can do with that.
I could
Cars?
see that. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Oh yes, ha.
Mhm.
But there's just something about cars. Like weirdly, I do have a better understanding of motorcycles,
Okay.
but for some reason, I like as soon as I pop the hood of a hood of a car, a truck, anything like that, I might as well be looking into the human brain.
Mm.
Like it is not that ain't me.
Yeah.
Um, but that's just because I wasn't raised in that.
Yeah.
My grandpa was a carpenter ish. He worked at Menards and he did his own work at home.
Right.
So, like I say, carpenter ish.
Right. Yeah.
As a small child, I helped him refinish parts of his home, like all these things. Like I've just been doing these things
Nice.
forever. Most other guys that I know, same thing, but with cars.
Okay.
If you were raised in it, it's a lot easier to understand. And even if you weren't raised in it, some people just have that propensity. That's a certain skill, a certain talent. They
Yeah.
understand how those things work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm
And it
doing
and
better writing
it's
books.
there you go.
Let me rephrase that. I'm doing better writing book. It is what it is. And like I was telling, I think I have my very first beta reader for my book.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And it's not a great beta reader. It's my cousin, so I'm hoping that he'll be honest with me. But it's my
Okay.
cousin, and like
Right.
my cousin, like we love each other, so I don't know how that love is gonna come out, whether it's gonna be in like brutal honesty or if it's gonna be in like cushioning the blow. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Is he someone who likes to read fantasy?
Constantly.
Okay, good.
Well,
Yes.
oh, sorry, fantasy. I don't know specifically about fantasy, but him and his dad, like yeah, they go back and forth with books.
Okay. That's good. Because I did like I do remember one time I had a friend who I was like, I know this like I needed a beta reader and I was like, okay, I know this guy will be brutally honest. Like I need brutally honest. I know this motherfucker will be brutally honest. So I handed him the short story and I was like, I need you to read this and give me some feedback before I submit it. Because it was kind of a big deal. Um it was for a dark crystal story contest. Like
Oh,
it was a
damn, that does
yeah.
sound cool.
Yeah, and so I was like, I need some feedback on this. I need brutally honest feedback. And so and he was like, all right, I'll read it. And then like a day later, he came back, and I was like, what do you think? And he's like, I've never seen the Dark Crystal. I don't really do fantasy. I was like, get the fuck out of my house. You're useless.
Oh man, information that would have been useful yesterday.
Yeah, yep.
Oh,
So yeah,
ouch. Oh man.
I did not win that contest though, unfortunately. So that's the end of that story.
Well,
But
okay,
it
so
was
I will grant you this. My story is fantasy, but I don't think you need to be a fantasy fan.
okay.
I it I'm trying to play it off a little bit more like a historical piece.
Ah, okay.
But well,
All
I
right.
mean, you've checked out
Yeah.
certain sections.
Yeah, I've read bits of it, yeah.
I mean, honestly, and I told my cousin, I was like, if this winds up being something that just I go back and keep reading over and over again, honestly, I'm kind of okay with that because every time I go back to read this,
Mhm.
I know this world all the way is completely painted for me in here. So when I go back and read it, it's like watching my favorite movie and I came up with it. And that is the
Yep.
craziest thing to me.
That is great, yeah.
So
It's
if
a
I
great
am the,
feeling.
yeah. So if I'm the only one who ever enjoys it, honestly, I've spent months creating something that generates ridiculous happiness for me. I mean,
That's yeah, that we're all chasing that, yeah. I'm right
how
there
have
with you.
we, yeah, how is that not the most worth it thing?
Yep.
Like, I do, like, because I know that there are some authors and some authors that I know that have written things and have never published them, never released them, never even let another person read them.
Right.
I don't understand those people because when this is done, I would love to, on the off chance that I can make somebody feel how I feel about it,
Mhm.
that's worth giving it the effort for, man. But I feel like that's
Yeah.
the difference between between entertainers and capitalists.
Right. Yeah. And that is, I know I've
Capitalists
kind of thought
in the art world, that is a very, like, I'm not knocking capitalism. It is a fantastic way to build a country. It is not a fantastic way to maintain a country. It is a fantastic way to build a country.
okay.
I'll try to remember I'll try to remember the title of the book, but there was a book that was released that actually went through the plan of constructing America in the long term, and the capitalist structure of America was actually supposed to be changed early in the 20th century, but they didn't
Oh,
because the people in power, they just had
they
too much
liked
shit.
yeah, they liked it.
This was
That's how
not,
that was
but
it. Yeah.
apparently this is and again, I have no idea if this was a conspiracy theorist book that somebody told me about and all this. Yeah, I was told about it. I never read it. But when it was kind of laid out in front of me, it did make sense that capitalism is a top tier way to quickly build a country,
I mean, I could see how
but it's not sustainable.
no, it's definitely not sustainable.
No, I mean,
I
like,
mean, I guess it depends on I mean, why would you need to quickly build a country? I guess would be like if we're talking about trying to lay down maximum dominance. Sure, that would be the way to go. Um, but I guess that's kind of like one of the issues is that that kind of, you know, um, like what's the what,
well, once it's in, like, when with the massive amount of incentive that it is for the smaller person to become a business or a business owner and things like that, that it was a wild way to create towns because
sure.
everybody had a reason for doing it.
Well, okay. Oh, so here's my question then. Um, are we talking about capitalism or are we talking about commerce?
As that is a good question, but the thing was, I was not educated enough to even know the difference at the time.
Okay.
So,
So
like
that
I
would be
said,
my
I will look into it and I will try to track down what that book was because I actually would like to give that a read and find out what it really
yeah.
was about. But I
Because I
mean,
will
if
openly
it's a
admit that
conspiracy, if it's because the person who told me about it, I'm realizing this is a wild MAGA, like, conspiracy theorist, QAnon, everything.
right, okay.
But he wasn't that before. So because I know, like, a lot of people, like, got radicalized during that time that were not like that in
Right.
the past.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering if my buddy was always nuts
It's a
or
good question.
if that was a recent development. Uh, we have crossed into an hour. I think I'd
All
like
right.
to
Yeah,
chop it up, go get myself some sleep. You
it's a
good
good
to
idea.
wrap it up? All right, guys. That's gonna close it up for this week. We will be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
Live
Have a
long
good
and
night.
prosper.